Hello, alchemists! Thanks for joining me, Lonehawk, for this episode of Road to Mythic, deck tech and gameplay for Magic the Gathering Arena Alchemy Best of 1. We'll go through the deck framework and talk about how it is supposed to work, and which cards strengthen others, then get to playing it on the ladder. I'll wrap up with a quick review and a look forward to what new cards from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan I might add once that set comes out. With that, let's get to the deck. Today's deck is built around Kaito Dancing Shadow, a legendary planeswalker that comes in with 3 loyalty counters and can +1 to keep a target creature from attacking or blocking until your next turn. You can draw a card for 0 loyalty counters, and for -2 you can create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. With all the removal out there, it seemed like a good time to put together a Superfriends deck. So I gathered together a bunch of my planeswalkers, Liliana of the Veil. It's a discard engine and also can do removal. Wrenn and Realmbreaker. Since we've got so much expensive stuff in the deck, it seemed like a good fit. It can turn a land into a 3/3 creature with vigilance and hexproof for your turn, and it gets haste, which is really nice with the Restless Cottage. It turns Restless Cottage into, instead of a land that you can attack with when you're not doing anything, to a land that you attack and defend with and creates artifacts for you, namely food tokens. And then we've also got Ashiok, Wicked Manipulator, that can create nightmare tokens that grow with when you exile cards, and we've got some adventures in here to support that. And her +1 ability is looking at the top 2 cards of your library and exiling one of them. So their +1 bumps up the nightmares made with a -2, and if you get her to 7 loyalty, you can exile the top X cards of opponent's library, where X is the total mana value of cards you own in exile. So if she hangs around long enough, or we get the second copy, sometimes we can deck our opponent. Moving on to our last planeswalker, we've got 1 copy of Vraska Betrayal Sting. She is fun in that you can use her for removal. For -2, target creature becomes a treasure artifact and loses all other card types and abilities. A nice thing about playing Vraska with other planeswalkers is her 0 ability, which is actually a +1, is you draw a card and you lose 1 life and you proliferate. So all your planeswalkers get loyalty counters. If you've got poison on the opponent, that goes up. And any +1 counters we got from Ashiok's nightmares getting bigger, those increase. Defends battles better, and it's just a fun ability all around. To support our Super Friends, we've got some removal. I've got 1 cut down in here. I always find it, or I so often find that just ends up as a dead card. So I don't like playing too much of it, but it does come in handy from time to time, especially against the Legends decks that are out there. It's a good way to handle the halfling. And I suppose it's also good against Mono Red to take out the Swift Spear. Maybe I should put a few more copies of it in there. I am getting a bunch of Haywire Mites, more than I need. We've got 4 Go for the Throat, the best generic creature removal out there. And we've got Virtue of Persistence. Good because it's an adventure, so it bumps Ashiok's minus abilities And our games tend to go long, so we often get a chance to play this out. We've got, in the creature department, a sprinkling of stuff that I just enjoy. I think it may need some tuning, but we're trying out a few things that I've got singletons of. We've got Rusko Clockmaker, who you've probably seen in Dimir Control. Gets you a little mana acceleration, in theory some card draw, gets you some life gain and life loss. Good all-around card, and, decent 3/3 body. We've got Oracle of the Alpha, with all the card draw in the deck. It makes sense to have this. Plus we, get the 2/3 flyer, and that gets us a bunch of scries. We've got Deeproot Wayfinder for mana acceleration. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player or battle, you get to Surveil, and then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, which is surprisingly effective, especially with Terramorphic Expanse. This is dumping lands into the graveyard faster, and so you can clear out the basic lands in your deck and get the mana that you need. Some cards that I wanted to try out. We got Sarenth Steelseeker. It is a 1/2 for 2, so underpowered, but whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it into the graveyard. So you get a little bit of mana acceleration, some surveil, some graveyard effects, or some self-mill, which can be good. We've got Urborg Lurgoyf, which is in our colors. It's a creature with power and toughness tied to the number of creatures in your graveyard, and it can be kicked to mill 3 cards up to twice. We've got Tainted Observer. It's another proliferator. It's a 2/3 flyer with Toxic. The Toxic doesn't matter much to us, but whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. And if you do, proliferate, which can bump up all of our planeswalkers. I've got Evolved Spinoderm. It's this I chose for its enter the battlefield effect, because it enters with 4 oil counters on it, and it either tramples or gets hexproof, depending upon the number of oil counters. And then if it is out of oil counters at the beginning of your upkeep, after you have removed one, then it gets sacrificed. So it works well with Kaito in that you can return it to your hand if it connects to replenish the oil counters on it. And it's fairly cheap for a 5/5. We've got Nantuko Slicer, which I had no idea how fun this card is. It's 3/2 insect for 4 mana with 2 green, and you can kick it for 1 black. And you get to return a card from your graveyard, so graveyard theme going strong here. And if you kick it, you get to exile a card from your opponent's graveyard. Oh, actually, conjure a duplicate of target card in an opponent's graveyard, and you can then spend mana as though it was any color to cast it. That stealing is awfully fun, especially with the amount of removal we have. And then in the top end, we've got some good creatures. So we got the Horned Block Whale from Wilds of Eldraine that has the adventure. For 1 and a blue, you can return target attacking creature to the top or bottom of the owner's library. So interfere with their draw and get rid of troublesome baddie. Plus, at the end, toward the end of the game, you get a 6/6 Ward 2 that actually can come in with flash. We've got the 4 copies of Phyrexian Fleshgorger as well, some lifelink for us, and in the land department, we've got the 4 Terramorphic Expanse, could be the Evolving Wilds too, and just a sacrifice land to be there for the Deeproot Wayfinder. We've got 2 Great Halls of the Citadel that fixes our mana for the planeswalkers and legendary creatures that we have. 4 Captivating Crossroads, as usual, the best card of Wilds of Eldraine Alchemy set that allows you to choose the color of mana that you want, and usually comes in untapped unless you are the starting player in the first three turns. Usually we can wait until after the first 3 turns to play this, and it comes in untapped, which it goes well with our long game strategy. Already looked at Restless Cottage. We've got 4 Darkslick Shores for fast, getting the mana for the smaller Fleshgorger, the Lock Whale, some of our quick creatures, and then a few basics to get fetched by the Terramorphic Expanse. There's the deck. Let's see how it performs. On the draw is actually a little bit better here. Yeah, we can... Nope, we're not going to play the Haywire Might, so we will play the Terramorphic Expanse. Up against... Izzet. Izzet? Pass. Yeah, we will make black. Yeah, might as well be black. Oop. I seem to have confused them. Okay, they are playing... Oh, they're playing Gandalf's Sanction. Okie dokie. Yes, definitely will bring out Deeproot Wayfinder, because it might survive, or it might not. No, they let it survive. That is a big mistake on their part. We will play this in... What are we going to do this turn? Yeah, we're going to take that out. So, yeah, I think green or black. Black is the way to go. And next to combat, I'll attack. Ooh, do we want the Restless Cottage instead? I think so. That does mean we don't have a blue for next turn, but oh well. There we go. We do have 5 mana. And say goodbye to the Fiery Inscription. If you've watched this far, please like and subscribe to support the channel and to get more from me as I release more videos. They curate main phase again. Looking for the land drop. Looking for the land drop. And what do they do with the 2? They really should. Well, this is that. And we will attack. Surveil. Yeah, we will take something other than land on our next draw, but Terramorphic Expanse is what we want. Do we want to attack with the cottage instead of bringing out the Flesh Gorger? It's more damage. Yeah. And we don't have... Oh, that was silly. Oops. Should have played the Flesh Gorger. Still, they seem fairly well under control. Got a huge mana advantage. They now become sick of the... we can't activate that this turn, so... Yeah, this turn it is the Flesh Gorger. Next two attackers, end turn. And finally we get our blue source. They come after that guy. They do. One damage spills over. And we'll just grab our blue source. Which do we want here? Can't quite play Virtue of Persistence. It's just between the Shadow and... Yeah. Let's go ahead, draw another card. I think there was a misplay in there as well. Yeah, and next, end. They finally play a creature. A lightning strike. Little do they know, we have a backup. Two attackers, activate ability. I think we have to take green at this point. Yeah, we are all out of lands. So, we have 7 mana. So we can Oracle and Virtue. Yeah. Or we could... Yeah, Realm Breaker. If we do that, we can't Virtue. But then again, like, we can wait. So, yeah, we will do that. We'll untap the Restless Cottage. Up to 1 land. Next attackers, we'll swing. We'll take out Gandalf's Sanction. And next, do 3 damage and bring out Oracle. Should turn the sound on. Alright, we get another land. That's definitely a blue. And I think it is time to Virtue down the Sleep Cursed Fairy. Yes. Resolve. And... auto pay. Gain a couple of life. And we will attack the land. Next. I can take out a curate. And, yeah, Kaito. I finally got rid of my... Finally got rid of the Restless Cottage. And here. I think, yeah, let's first attack with something. Sure. Then we can draw a card and play that again, and draw another card, and Will Virtue. The Fiery Inscription. My graveyard. Good game. Definitely thin on early things, but we can power. We can remove stuff, so definitely Cottage first. Then Dark Slick Shores. I think. Actually, I don't think we're going to want to use that immediately, so we will put out Terramorphic Expanse and turn. They've got a Restless Bivouac out. This is equipment. Okay. What do we want for this? We will have 2 blacks, so let's grab the island. And Dark Slick Shores. I don't know that we really need to, do we want to remove the equipment? Leave just the 2/2? Nah, let's plan on using the Lock Whale. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's now, don't really want that double striker coming at me. This will be green. And, well, I mean, we could get Kaito out and then until your next turn. All right. Well, I think, yeah. Play the Might. Destroy the planar disruption. Gain 3 life. We'll hold the creature there and play the Flesh Scourger. Now, what do we want to do here? We could Ashiok, we can Vraska, yeah. Let's Ashiok. -2. Well, again, stick that, and no attacks. I don't know that that was the right play. And bring, oh, first strike trample. Well, that's going to be a bit of a problem. That's an interesting choice. Well, do we want to sacrifice the Flesh Scourger or both tokens? I think actually because we've got a Flesh Scourger, we might as well do that. Let's see, let's do this first. I think we want to exile, and definitely will exile the forest. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and we'll destroy the War Whip. We will put out a colorless, and we will virtue the Gavalier. That sounds like a hell of a plan. Done. And no attacks for present. Let's go 3/2 first striker. 2/2 first strike trample. And everyone is going for Ashiok. We can save Ashiok. We kind of have to sack 2 things, but I think that is probably worth it. I should have double blocked one of them. Okay. Let's do we want to make that a 3/3? Or yeah, let's see. Yeah, double striker can't block. 2 more tokens. And Vraska. Done. And get rid of Mary. Do we want to attack? Guess it depends on whether we want to double block. I think, yeah, we actually, those are going to be, decline. Yeah, bad things happen here. First strike trample. That is all yours. All right, well, this is bad. Definitely want to draw here. And yeah, I think we want to do this. Not a whole lot of choices there. We have 6 mana now. We can if we do Flesh Gorger, yeah, we can't also go for the throat, so I guess it's the Overseer. Next to combat, done. Those guys get bigger. I think that we want to attack with a big one. Gang block it, they gang block it. And turn. Yeah. You are pretty much done here. They found their synergy. Everyone gets haste. Get another thing out there that also gets haste. They leave Mary and the Cavalier back. Do we just let them and... I think so. I mean, yeah. They're not going to kill me. No blocks, pass. Alright, your mission, should you choose to accept it. I think... I don't know that it really matters. Just getting one of them out of the way is good. Yeah, let's get him out of the way because he's touch more dangerous. Okay. We now have, right now we have 10 damage. We need 12. That's easy. Well, wait, no. We don't have 12 damage. We have 6 damage. I don't think, well, let's see. With that guy, you have another 10 damage. You back up to 10 damage, but you don't get to enter the battlefield. Gosh. Yeah, and you can only do that once. So you can get that up to 8 there. Yeah, and you're totally hosed once all that crap comes back into play. Good game. Well, this looks pretty good. On the play. Alright, well, we've got plenty of life gain. Next, we go for the throat is active. Another Swift Spear. Yeah, it's not a good time to do that, so my turn. We could Liliana, but I don't think that that makes sense. Better to Haywire and go for the throat open. See if our blocker survives. Next to combat, next to attackers, and turn. They hit their third land drop. Mechanized Warfare. That seems like a big ol' mistake. Pass to attackers. We will cancel to blockers. Block one blocker, activate. Destroy that, gain 3 life. One is blocked, and the other one survives. Alright. Now, I don't think Haywire Might is the right idea. Liliana isn't the right idea, so Flesh Gorger seems to be the right idea. Definitely going to reserve the other Haywire Might, because if they didn't learn their lesson, they are going to be easy to beat, and if they did, they're going to remove it with extreme priority, or extreme, what's the phrase? Prejudice. Extreme prejudice. They bolt the Flesh Gorger. So we don't lose any life off of it, or don't gain any life off of it, but that's another 3 that doesn't go to our head. Third Swift Spear. Played in the wrong order. And now what do we do? do we just Kaito and prevent one of them from blocking? Yeah, why the heck not? Or do we just draw a card? I feel like drawing a card is actually more beneficial because we got 3 of the same thing there. Now you get the inscription. They tempt. Oh, and they have lethal. Oh no. So that was a wrong decision. Should have gone for the throat on one of them. Alright, on the play, I think that, yeah, definitely keeps that. We can cut down next turn, which I did not play a halfling, so we will, and we're not going to play a might. Play the Terramorphic Expanse, mono green. Alright, well, that cut down came in handy. We will take the poison token. Oh, do they have... Oof. Alrighty. Well, that is going to be a problem for us. We want... I think we want blue. Crossroads. And I think we want green for that. We will... Yeah, we can't target the Route Priest with either Go for the Throat or the Horned Lock Whale, but we can get this guy out as a blocker. Which will allow us to sack him and get rid of the Royal Roll token. Are they going to target me? The plan is going to be to cancel. I always end up activating that first, one blocker, and then we'll take out that Royal Roll token, which is somewhat problematic. So you don't get the poison counter. And you lose the protection. Okay. Nothing to do here. We will wait and see which is going to be the better thing. End turn. The 2 options. If they bring in anything else, well, which to do? I think this is the more restrictive one. Oh, very fortunate. They draw it back, but they can't play it quite yet. We will play Realm Breaker. And we can put that Terramorphic Expanse to good use. Another reason Terramorphic Expanse is great in this deck. We'll end turn. Oh my. Actually, I guess, yeah, we're targeted, but we can actually sacrifice this to its own ability and then get... Do we want the black or do we want... Good game. Oof. That was close. Alright, well, that was fun. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Looking over the deck, I think we take out this Errant Steelseeker. Had such high hopes for it. It might be a pretty cool card in Ixalan with all its artifacts. But for now, we just don't have enough artifacts in the deck to keep it going. So we'll pull that. Same thing with the Urborg Lurgoyf. Pull that. The Deeproot Wayfinder, that's a success. We'll put that in. I think we'll also add a Cut Down. Give us a little more low-end control so we don't get overrun by the red decks. Oracle of the Alpha, that definitely stays in. We love Liliana. Ren and Realmbreaker is performing. Tainted Observer, I'm going to leave that in for now. I'll make a decision on it later. I think Evolved Spinoderm, I'm going to take that out because... And I think also Rusko. Yes, we'll take Rusko out as well. Fun. Does some cool things. The mana acceleration every now and then comes in very handy. But it is not as good as Shieldred. So we will go get Shieldred. And put 2 of those in. Ashiok we enjoyed. Kaito. The deck is called Kaito, so we can't really remove that. I see why we don't see a ton of Kaito decks, but definitely fun to play. Yeah, and Horned Lockwhale was great. Vraska goes with the deck. Would go better with a poison deck or a toxic deck, but does what we want. Flesh Gorger is awesome, and Virtue of Persistence, consistent performer. And I think I will take out one Terramorphic Expanse. It was just a bit much. I had a game where I just drew a ton of those, and that was unpleasant. Plus, we need more basic lands in here. So, do we take out the Great Hall? It can be really, really good for Liliana and Ren and Realmbreaker, smoothing those 3 drops. We will just add in a swamp. And maybe we'll come back to that and see what we can modify, but that is the deck I'm going to post. Looking at cards from Lost Caverns of Ixalan that could go in this deck. First we have Bitter Triumph. It's a instant 1 and a black. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card or pay 3 life, and destroy target creature or planeswalker. So basically the same as go for the throat, except we can destroy a planeswalker and an artifact creature, but we have to either discard a card or pay 3 life. Seeing as we are used to discarding cards with this deck, that doesn't seem like a huge expense, though it is not insignificant. And we've got enough life gain to pay 3 life, so I think that we will be switching out for Bitter Triumph at least some of the Go for the Throats. Here's Akawali. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. The Seething Tower for 1 black and a green. It's a 3/3 legendary creature, a fungus, that becomes a 5/5 and gets trample when there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. And if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, Akawali gets an additional +2/+2 and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So if we manage to mill ourselves a bunch of cards, this becomes a 7/7 trample that can't be blocked by more than 1 creature for 3 mana. Seems like it should go in. It probably picks up the Tainted Observer spot. Next in line, the Everflowing Well. When the Everflowing Well enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. So it goes with our theme of getting cards into the graveyard. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanent cards, transform the Everflowing Well, and it transforms into the Myriad Pools. It's a legendary artifact land that taps to add a blue. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by the Myriad Pools, up to 1 other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until end of turn. So basically, this is going to give us another copy of... It's going to turn a land into one of our other things until end of turn. So the big things for that would be the planeswalkers. Another Vraska that you can either proliferate again or remove 2 creatures. Ashiok, you can both create 2 Nightmare tokens and exile a card to bump them up. And you can have the one that bumps them up be the one that stays, and the other one turns back into a land. Same deal with the other planeswalkers. That works really nice for this. Again, probably would go into the Tainted Observer slot, or maybe take a Deeproot Wayfinder slot. Might even take a Fleshgorger slot, because that's kind of what we think of as a 3-drop. Jadelight Spelunker. It's a Merfolk Scout, green. For X and a green, you get a 1/1 creature that when it enters the battlefield, it explores X times. So this is something that could replace Deeproot Wayfinder. The nice thing about this is it can get a bunch of land. Depending on how much mana we have available, it will sometimes get no land. In the 2 slot, it will generally explore once, so you either get a 2/2 or you get a land. It is a rare. I don't know that I would craft this one, but if I end up opening it, I think it definitely is worth an audition Then we've got Over the Edge. This would be a replacement for the Haywire Might. It's a sorcery for 1 and a green. Choose one, destroy artifact or enchantment, or target creature you control explores, then it explores again. So it gives us more exploration and preserves artifact and enchantment control. And it's a common. Then we have Souls of the Lost. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. It is a Lurgoyf Spirit for 1 and a black. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and the toughness is equal to that number plus 1. Way cooler than the regular Lurgoyfs, which just track the number of creature cards in your graveyard, which, since we're playing a lot of planeswalkers, doesn't work so well. But number of permanent cards, well, we've got plenty of permanents. It even counts lands. So this is a definite thought. Probably for the Tainted Observer slot. Then we have Tarian's Journal. It's a legendary artifact for 1 and a black. You can tap and sacrifice another artifact or creature to draw a card, only as a sorcery. Or you can pay 2 and tap and discard your hand to transform Tarian's Journal. And that transforms into Tomb of Aklazatz is a legendary land, cave, that taps for black, or taps for you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it, and it is a vampire in addition to its other types. Don't have a whole lot of use for vampires in the deck's current form, but we certainly have use for reanimation. And until we transform it, we'll have artifacts in the form of food tokens fairly frequently to draw us cards on the cheap. I'm not sure where I would put it, though. You almost want to ditch one of your card draws, which would suggest Kaito. Not sure I like that idea, but I do like this card. If it doesn't have a place in this deck, it certainly has a place in others. So there are some ideas for the upcoming Lost Caverns of Ixalan set. Thank you for joining me today. If you've watched this far, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't, and what you would like to see. I love to hear your requests, and will do everything I can to honor them. Until next time, may Magic the Gathering Alchemy turn your day into gold.